Hey, what's up, friends? You got Gypsy back here today. I know it's been a while since I uploaded. I have been away on holiday with my girl, and I've been getting into Sun and Moon quite a bit, but I'm back with the uploads. Today I'm bringing you something pretty exciting on the channel. For those of you who don't know, we had a draft league war with the opposing NPL a few months ago, which was a great success, and both leagues had a lot of fun. And so as a result, we decided to continue the tradition going, and us at the NPL, we challenged the PPL on Twitter to a draft league war, and they gladly accepted, because the PPL, they're a great bunch of guys, and they're very skilled players in their own right. So I'm sure they were quite eager for it as well. So basically, for those of you who don't know how this kind of thing works, it's a best of three system where you get matched up. Everyone drafts a team of 7, and typically, unlike a traditional draft league kind of process where you're trying to draft the best team whilst trying to counter team those in your division and those in your league. Basically, the way it works in the draft war is that as a league, you want everyone to have the best team possible. So you kind of help one another when selecting cores if people need help, or you kind of point them in the right direction and such. So basically, you want your whole group of players to have the best team possible, and thus have the best chance to win the best of 3, their respective best of 3 games. So basically, we randomized the draft order a bit, and purely because we knew that mind games came into it. We knew that their top player would inevitably counter draft our top player, and because I was most likely to be their top, NPL's top player, they we decided to mix things up a bit, and mix up the rankings, just because we do have in these best of 7, in these 7 modern formats. We like to draft reliant things that work for us. So just in case they had done their research on us in tournament format, we wanted to mix things up and give ourselves the best chance of having a decent matchup as possible. So I actually got matched up with Monotooi, who is arguably one of their best players, if not their best player. For those of you guys who don't know, I mean, if you're watching me, I'm sure you're sub to Monotooi, because he's a GBA player, he's a PPL player. This guy actually went undefeated in PPL Division 2 last season, I think, and which is pretty amazing. He made a sweep through. And spoilers for those of you guys who haven't watched this season of the PPL, but he's actually champion of the PPL too. So I suppose it's fitting that we matched up against one another. But yeah, when I saw his name, I was pretty excited, because I've wanted to battle him for a long time now, being a big fan of his content myself. And yeah, he's drafted a pretty threatening team himself. As you guys can see, he's got the 6 Mons on screen, as well as Whimsicott in the back. So Whimsicott is a very, very nice mon. For those of you guys who've watched my Season 5 run in the NPL, yeah, Whimsicott is a great mon in the hands of a skilled player. So he's got the Mega Blastoise coupled with Webs plus Kieran Black, which is definitely a threat. You can see Mon has drafted Cathagogus, which is a fantastic draft for anyone in the top order, as Megalop, Mega Metacham, Mega Galaterol, pretty well, not so much Mega Glade, but in the hands of the right player, it can be amazing. Shout out to Matty Brolic. Yeah, Megalop is definitely a top tier pick, so drafting Cathagogus is definitely a fantastic decision by Mono. I was very much contemplating it for the longest of time, until I eventually made a last minute decision not to. But yeah, definitely a nice team. He's got a really nice defensive core with Heatran and clear score of his own. Very vulnerable to something like Kyurem, but he does have a Blastoise and his own Kyurem, and there is not really any sort of defensive core that can comfortably check Kyurem anyway, so that's not really a problem you can escape. And nonetheless, he doesn't have too strong a reliable check to guard. Guard kind of has fun with his team. That being said, a Lure variant of Kyurem could be an issue. A Scarfed Kyurem with Iron Head could definitely be an issue. Spidef Gliscor takes it on fairly well, and obviously Heatran tanks Hyper Voices for days. If I'm running HP ground, he can scout for that with something like a Spidef Gliscor in the back. He can run like Mirror Coat on Blastoise. Yeah, he has numerous ways of checking it, but no doubt Guard is a big threat to his team. But looking at matchup, that's what I kind of was thinking when it came to building. You know, he doesn't have too much of a response to guard. But I'm going to go into the team I brought for our first game one. First, we're going to lead off with start off with Sizzle. It's a fast band set. I really did want to run full bulk on this set, as it does allow me to switch in more easily to Kyurem, which is a massive threat to my team. However, a fast band set could catch potentially slow Blastoise off guard, as Mega Blastoise could be a physically defensive variant to check something like Terrakion more reliably. I also did have a Landorus on my team, so having only one physically defensive mon on his team, he may find that that actually gets overwhelmed by the combination of Terrakion, which just has a fantastic matchup versus his offensive mons plus Landorus, and the potential of a banded Crobat or a banded Sizzle. So definitely defensive Blastoise is a potential bring on his part. So it felt as though a speedy Sizzle may be able to take advantage of that with powerful U-turns, as I do have pretty nice, I have somewhat decent answers to Blastoise, defensively speaking. But that's basically it. Bullet Punch with the band deals a ton to Kyurem, kills him after a round of T-Spikes if he has a standard spread. With my speed investment, I can outpace a slow Heatran, but it's mono. He's likely going to speed creep max speed Adamant Scizor at least. I don't know if he goes as far to outspeed Jolly, but you know, it's likely he could. Nonetheless, I do expect potentially I can catch the Heatran on the switch with Superpower if he does expect me to Bullet Punch his Kyurem or something like that. And then we got Knockoff for the Kofag, which is a 2-hit KO, even if he's a physically defensive variant, provided he's not a Culberberry variant, which doesn't really make too much sense versus my team, as the only knockoff user is actually my Scizor, so he's more likely to be leftovers or something like that. Yeah, pretty standard Scizor, nothing too exciting about it, but it does the job pretty nicely. It pressures his team the way I want it to, so that's pretty nice. Next up we have Guard. Unlike, for those of you guys who know me, I do firmly believe that Fat Guard is the best guard when it comes to Draft League. It beats its checks easily when it's fat with the right utility moves. It is definitely, without a doubt, the best guard. I'm just going to throw it out there. So I decided to bring standard Quick Guard, Fast Guard for this match because I have no reason to run Fat Guard. A Fat Guard is actually pretty nice, but Speedy Guard allows me to outpace Kyurem. It allows me to outpace everything on his team, barring the Galvantula and the Whimsicott. Hyper Voice deals a ton to everything. Essentially, I have HP ground for the Heatran switch in, which is, as I said, his best reliant switch into the Hyper Voice. Then I'm rocking Protect, just to guarantee that safe Mega off versus something like a Kyurem with an Iron Head, like a Life Orb Iron Head. I can't really risk that. It also allows me to scout for like a Scarf Kyurem, as well as like T-Wave from Galvantula. Also allows me to scout like a Scarf Heatran, which could be a big problem. As I know Specs, Heatran, Oko's my guard with Flash Cannon, and Hidden Power Ground can't kill him in return, so just scouting is pretty nice versus his team. Then we have a pretty bulky, slightly invested in special attack, Roserade with Sludge Bomb, Leaf Storm, Hidden Power Ground, and T-Spikes. T-Spikes are very nice to his team, allowing my banded users to be a lot more effective. As you guys can see, 4 out of his mons on screen get affected by T-Spikes, as well as the Whimsicott in the back. Roserade just matched up so nicely, there was no reason for me not to bring it. Roserade acts as a pretty nice lure for Heatran if he does want to switch in on a potential Sludge Bomb or Leaf Storm. He can obviously eat that up. I can pop him with the HP ground if I do make that prediction right. Next up we have Ban Terrakion, so the second ban user of the team. I really don't have a reason not to run Ban Taunt with like Life Orb. SD could be pretty nice to check like a boosting Cofagrigus or like an annoying Gliscor, but the immediate power that Ban offers was a bit too tempting to pass up in this matchup. Nothing much to say on Terrak. I got Stealth Rocks in case I really want to get them up, but T-Spikes should be enough in this matchup. Then we have it's kind of a bulky, physically offensive Crobat. Running Haze for Cofagrigus. Potential Cofagrigus is a real pain with his Command versus my team. Not to mention like an SD pass Gliscor could be a real problem with like Agility pass into something like Kyurem. Or even like Blastoise, that could be a real big issue, to be honest. So I wanted to bring Haze just in case of that situation. Could have run Whirlwind, but then I get hit with the attack before I can Whirlwind him away. Haze is just safer. Rocking Defog in case he wants to set up rocks versus me, set up webs, which is something I can't have up because then guard becomes a lot less effective, as well as Terrakion. So yeah, Monotooi defog on my Crobat as well as Brave Bird for fairly reliable stab versus most of his team. Does a decent amount to Kofag with the T-Spikes up. Lastly, we have a Calm Mind Slowbro, Calm Mind Scald Ice Beam Slack Off. Nothing too crazy about the set. Ice Beam allows me to bop the Gliscor as well as hitting the Whimsicott for decent damage. It's my best way of hitting Kyurem on this set. I didn't want to run Psychic because I need to be able to reliably check like a SD variant of Gliscor. If he's Spit F, then Scald does considerably less than Ice Beam on a turn that he's not roosting, so that's definitely was something that I couldn't really pass up, at least in game 1. So we're going to lead off with Terrakion because Terrakion doesn't have great switch-ins on his team. I predicted him to lead off with something that at least Galvantula or even Kyurem, because Kyurem matches up so nicely versus my team. So I'm just going to lead off with Terrakion as he leads off with his Kyurem. We do get that prediction right. Now right here I have no reason to go for CC because he does have Gypsy in the back, which is a pretty nice switch into Terrakion. So I'm just going to click Stone Edge here as he goes out into his Gypsy. And you guys are going to see Stone Edge does 52, revealing that he's max defense Gypsy. Well, he's actually almost max defense. He's running a bit of speed to outspeed, to speed creep like a barely spared speed invested Slowbro, so pretty nice prep on his part. But he's almost max defense, which does allow him to live the Banded Edge with leftovers. So a very nice prep on Mono's part. But I'm just going to go out into my Roserade on this turn, predicting his either Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, or Rest. He does actually go for Rest this turn, getting back to full. Now this is a really nice opportunity to either spam a Specs Leaf Storm. My thought process here was, if I bring a Roserade in on a Gypsy, Mono's going to think I'm either trying to set up Spikes versus his team, or T-Spikes, which, as I said, T-Spikes are a huge pain for his team. And I could also be trying to spank him with a Specs Leaf Storm, which Leaf Storm is very nice versus his team, barring the Heatran. So I'm going to go for the HP ground here, making the early play just off on the Heatran, not trying to get this thing a free switch in, as we do take him out with the Technician HP ground there. So pretty nice. We get rid of the Heatran, so guard is just pretty free now. This also frees up Scizor a lot, giving him a far easier time, making Bullet Punch less kind of risky to spam. As I do have pretty safe switch into the Kofagrigus and Gliscor if he does want to switch into those two to tank a Bullet Punch. Unlike Heatran, I lose far less offensive momentum in that situation. He gains less offensive momentum, I should say, having the Heatran switch into my Bullet Punch as opposed to having the Gliscor or the Kofag in the back. So now he brings in Kyurem. I'm not going to muck around with this monster. I'm just going to switch right out and go into my Slowbro as he does fire off the Fusion Bolt. Pretty obvious Fusion Bolt right there, as I wasn't going to risk my Roserade because it does check Blastoise very nicely as I do outspeed with my investment. There was no reason for me to stay in there and sack that. As he makes the nice read, goes to the Fusion Bolt. So now I am just going to switch out into my Scizor, knowing that I can tank one, at least one, even a crit. It's not going to take me out. I doubt he has Hidden Power Fire. He hasn't shown to be that damage reveals that he's not actually like a boosting item, which is interesting. So I'm not thinking he's going to have Hidden Power Fire. If he does, he's not going to risk it here, as Kyurem is very important. But I am just going to go for the Bullet Punch just in case, just so I can get that nice clean damage, putting him in range to die from something like Crobat's Brave Bird, or even a Sludge Bomb from Roserade on the switch in. So he's going to switch out here, go into his Blastoise, as I do go for the Bullet Punch right here. So yeah, I was contemplating U-turn, but just on the off chance that he did have HP Fire, I didn't want him to get that HP Fire off without getting punished. So I do get a decent amount off on the Blastoise, revealing that he's more than likely a offensive variant, I want to say, because he did take 26%. Blastoise is pretty tanky if invested. So yeah, I really felt as though that was a at least not a full max defense Blastoise. So pretty nice for me. I'm going to go into my Slowbro as he makes the switch out to his Gliscor. That was pretty nice there. I think he was I do think he was predicting a different switch in there, but I come in with Slowbro right now as it does force him out to go out to his Kofag, as I do fire off the Ice Beam. I get a crit there, pretty unfortunate, but you guys can see he's going to get the HP back with leftovers anyway, so it's not too big a deal, as Roserade can now come in up on this Kothag, as he does reveal the Rest Stalk here, which is pretty interesting. He goes for the Carmine, so I know that Kothag is going to be a bit of an issue now with Carmine, but you know that's why we pack Haze on Crobat, so it's not the end of the world. I'm just going to take this opportunity to set up T-Spikes to at least punish his offensive switch-ins. I want to break the Sash on Galvantula so Crobat can guarantee kill. I want to poison Blastoise so it guarantees the 2-hit KO with Stone Edge from Terrakion. I want to poison the Kyurem, so just in case it's a Sash variant, which it could well be. So I'm going to go for the T-Spikes here. So he goes out to Kyurem. Now I think he did that just in case I was like a Specs variant of Roserade wanting to go for Leaf Storm. He knew he could tank that, judge my set, hence why he switched out there. But because I had shown Hidden Power Ground, I could have, for all he knew, been Specs, as my set and a Specs obviously knocks out Heatran at full, so he had no way of knowing at this point. He hasn't taken damage on any of his mons from Roserade that has allowed him to calc my set yet, so I definitely understand the play there, as I have shown Roserade to be my switch into a passive Kothagrius every time, so yeah, definitely understand the play if that was his thought process, but he may have just wanted to get a pretty free switch into Kyurem to wreak some more havoc on my team, so that's definitely likely too. I'm going to switch out again. As I said, Roserade is very important for this match, as he's now just going to go for the Ice Beam. Now I thought at this point he may be Scarfed because of the way he's been using his Kyurem, so he has been playing it quite nicely actually, leading me to believe that he may actually be a Scarfed Kyurem. As now he's going to switch out, maybe fearing the T-Wave, or even just trying to scout how I was going to play it. But now I go out to my Roserade on his double to Kothag, predicting the Fusion Bolt there, just wanting to scout to see if he was choice locked, he was going to switch it up there and go for Fusion Bolt, so Roserade was fairly free as I am max HP. If he was Scarfed, he was going to switch out that turn anyway. So now I get to go into my Roserade, and I get to click Leaf Storm this turn, I believe, as he does bring in his Gliscor, and that takes a ton from this Leaf Storm. However, it is going to be bulky enough to live the second Leaf Storm, so I'm going to switch out here, go back into my Slowbro, as I know I can force this thing out once again and get Ice Beam damage off on anything, even if it is the Kothagrius, I don't mind. I'm pretty happy with that. If he wants to go out to Kyurem, he gets weakened severely by Toxic Spikes plus Ice Beam. As this Kothagrius is just taking pretty nice damage every turn. It's not much, but it's decent. As now he's going to go for the Sleep Talk, and he gets Carmine yet again. I'm not going to play around with this threat with Crobat in here. I'm just going to go for the Haze straight away, just in case he crits me and he's somehow max special attack and I have calced incorrectly. You guys are going to see Shadow Ball does only 30%, so Crobat is looking to be able to take this guy on pretty nicely. As I do catch the Mummy after making the contact with the Kothagrius, as he fires off yet another Shadow Ball. This time he gets the Spit F drop, pretty unfortunate, but I do have Haze to mitigate that. That's not the end of the world. I do just Roost this turn, as I know that Shadow Ball shouldn't be doing all that much, but it does 48, so it's doing slightly less than Roost is healing me up. But I really lose nothing by going to Haze here, just in case he wants to stand and spam with the Shadow Ball. But he makes the play of going out to his Gliscor, not wanting to play those games with my Crobat, as he will lose that 1v1. So now Slowbro comes in, as he goes for the Ice Fang here. Pretty safe switch into Slowbro. He reveals Ice Fang, so that's obviously there to check Lando, in case that was he could have even been like an SD Ice Fang variant for Lando. Pretty nice prep by Mono. I'm just going to fire off a Skull this turn, as I know it does a little bit more damage to the Kothag, and he's revealed he's not comfortable staying with his Gliscor on my Slowbro, so yeah, Skull really lost nothing by going for it there. He's likely going to rest this turn, so I just go into my Gardevoir this turn, getting the free switch in. He had no reason to attack me there, otherwise he would have died. Kothag would have died. Kothag is his last response to Terrakion, basically. Gliscor doesn't really want to take it on. So now I get my free switch into Gardevoir right here. I am just going to fire off a Hyper Voice, as this is going to do a ton to Gliscor, doing 91%. I really lost nothing by going for the Hyper Voice there. I could have gone for Taunt to stop him from Sleep Talking, but just in case he did make the switch out, which he did, Hyper Voice was the play. Galvantula is going to come in now, and I'm just going to switch out, go out into my Roserade. Reason being, if he was Webs, I wanted to punish that the next turn with Sludge Bomb, but if he was like a T-Wave variant, I couldn't have that. I had to go out into my Roserade just to scout, as I didn't want to risk guard getting T-Wave just because it beats everything on his team at this point. It beats Kyurem, which is the biggest threat. It beats Blastoise pretty handily. So Resurrect is going to come in here, tank the Thunder with ease, and he's going to set up the webs this turn as I just knock him out with the Sludge Bomb plus Toxic Spikes damage. So that's pretty nice. I know I can defog the webs away later on with Crobat, so not too worried about that. Kyurem is going to come in right now. Huge shot to the team. I'm just going to go back out to my Slowbro and get a fairly mid to low roll on this Fusion Bolt when it is 48. So with the leftovers recovery, I'm out of range of Fusion Bolts, even a high roll Fusion Bolt next turn. So I'm just going to slack off up as the Cofagrigus comes in. Pretty nice switch in his spiders now. He can calm mind up potentially if he gets that move with Sleep Talk, but I have no reason not to go into my Crobat and just get rid of those webs because now Galvantula's gone. God essentially wins at this point, so he's basically going to Sleep Talk, Shadow Ball, get a crit, followed by a Spit F drop, of course. So now I'm basically going to Brave Bird here. I knew I wouldn't die to the recoil, and just in case he does get a Calm Mind, I can spam Haze, guaranteeing that Guard is going to get the kill with Hyper Voice the next turn. So I do just go for Haze here. I lose nothing by it. As now, apart from losing my Slowbro, my Crobat, but that's a sacrifice I'm more than happy to make. Is now Gardevoir can just come in and basically click Hyper Voice right here. He's going to go out to his Blastoise right here, wanting to preserve Terrakion, wanting to preserve Cofagrigus for Terrakion, which is a play I can definitely understand. As he reveals the Aqua Jet from Blastoise, Aqua Jet doing a decent amount, putting me in range of Scarfed Kyurem Iron Head. I do just go for Protect here, just in case he is Scarfed and I haven't scouted his set. No, sorry, this turn I go for I do go for Protect here. Sorry, thinking of the wrong game. I go for Protect here, just in case he did want to make that play, but he does double to Cofagrigus, predicting me to switch out to Slowbro, capitalizing on the Iron Head, as he has sort of made me believe he is Scarf at this point. So I can understand the switch out to Cofagrigus there. He wanted to capitalize on the Slowbro switch in, but I am just going to fire off the Hyper Voice this turn, dealing a decent amount to Cofagrigus. A nice 69%. Cofagrigus is pretty bulky, even on the specially defensive side, so I'm still doing a clean amount, comfortably to a KOing in there, as Shadow Ball is going to deal a decent amount, putting me in guaranteed range of anything from Kyurem. I do Protect, because at this point I still think he is a Scarf variant, so I am just going to fire off a Hyper Voice here, as he does actually reveal it to be Roselia Berry, so yeah, very nice prep on his part, but it's not going to save Kyurem from the poison damage, so we do take the first game 4-0. Pretty nice. Victory was pretty happy with that game. Unfortunate to see Guard go down like that. Seeing him living on 3%, but yeah, pretty happy with that game. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back for game 2. Alright guys, so we're back for game 2. And as you guys can see, I have brought the same team as game 1. I contemplated, I made many different teams for game 2. Having SD Lando, I had SD Yachi Lando. I actually had Special Carmine Lando for a while there. This is Lando T, so yeah, considering Flames, but I ended up bringing this team as I did feel like Scizor was needed to help check the potential Whimsicott bring, because if you brought some Flames on Whimsicott like Trick Room or something like that, that could have been a real pain for me to deal with. Roserade is, quite heavily pressured by Blastoise, so yeah, not having another reliable Whimsicott switch in is definitely a pain in the ass. So yeah, I did opt with this team. I am bringing bulky band Scizor this week. As I said, Scizor, SD Scizor's nice, Defog Scizor's nice, but a band is just too hard to pass up in this matchup. Dealing with his biggest offensive threats like Kyurem, knocking off banded knockoff to a KOing, physically defensive, non-Colbur Cofagrigus, which is very important. Superpower, obviously, Okoing Heatran. Knockoff even does a decent ton to a Gliscor on the switch in, provided, it's got its orb intact. And, Bullet Punch even to a KO's Galvantula with T-Spike subs, that's pretty nice. And yeah, so next up we have Bantarakion once again. Then I have Crobat. Really wanted to bring Nasty Bat with Sludge Bomb, HP Ice, and Dark Pulse as it just runs through his team, but I just found it to be pretty underwhelming in mocks. Unfortunately, as Heatran stands in its way, as does Scarf Galvantula, which is a very, very nice bring versus my team, especially as I don't really like bringing a Landorus versus a Kyurem and a Blastoise, so not to mention a Gliscor. So Yeah, Scarf Galvantula is definitely a likely bring and a good bring on his part if he does bring it. So I am bringing yeah, pretty much this very similar set to what I brought last game. I do have to have Haze in case he does bring Pythagoras with the Calm Mindset, as I mentioned in the first game. So essentially the same Crobat set. Very similar Rose Red set. This rig, I contemplated Sleep Powder, and I also contemplated, what else did I want? Sleep Powder Aromatherapy as well for a potential T-Wave Galvantula to render my guard quite useless. But I am packing Protect on my guard, so I felt as though that would be, you know, that would be enough for me to scout. Pretty similar Rose Red set, enough special attack with Technician to Bob Heatran, offensive Heatran with HP Ground on the switch in. I do have enough speed to outspeed Heatran, but again, Scarf Heatran is a pretty nice bring versus me as well, so it's definitely something to consider. Then we have Guard. I'm bringing Fat Guard this week, Fat Speedy Guard, enough HP that I can, after I set up, I'm actually Calm Mind this week. I dropped dropped Taunt for Calm Mind, I should say. Calm Mind actually runs through his team if I get a CM up. I outspeed the majority of his team, barring Galvantula and Whimsicott. And after I get a Calm Mind up, Heatran's Specs Flash Cannon can't kill me. My Hidden Power Ground Oko's Heatran, my Hyper Voice Oko's stuff like Pythagoras and like a physically defensive Gliscor. Obviously does a huge amount of damage to Blastoise, and the fact that I'm max HP with Calm Mind means that I can 1v1 Blastoise far more easily. So then we have a Protect, Lefties, Slack Off, Scald, Light Screen. Slowbro Light Screen is there, so his special attackers, I have an easy time switching into them. It kind of cushions the blow a bit. Protect and Slack Off with Lefties let me stall out Fusion Bolts more effectively, which is definitely you know, Kyurem's main way of dealing with my Slowbro. If he is Shadow Ball, I do have Light Screen for that, so that's also pretty nice. So as you guys can see, Mono brought the same team as he did last game, but I am predicting his sets to be quite different. I'm expecting him to have better answers to Guard, because Guard was the monster versus him in last game, so we'll jump right into it. I'm going to lead off with my Resurade, just to see what he wants to lead off with. He leads off with his Gliscor and does a decent amount with Earthquake, revealing that he's more than likely not invested in attack, as it does do under 50. I get my T-Spikes up, which is what I wanted, as now he does show off the Toxic Orb, I should say, as Slowbro is going to come in here and chew the Earthquake. Now he's going to go for the Toxic this turn, which you know, I wasn't really expecting, so this is quite interesting. He's more than likely Toxic Roost, EQ. I don't know his last move yet, so yeah, quite an interesting set. Could be something to hit Crobat, but you know, could not be that. So I'm gonna fire off a Scald here. I don't have Ice Beam this game, but Scald is 44%, so this is actually a Spit F Gliscor. This is pretty interesting. So he's gonna go for the Roost here as I fire off another Scald. Now this is not looking good. He can essentially 1v1 my Slowbro with this set. I brought Ice Beam last game, so he wasn't fearing that, I guess, or maybe he just felt as though with his Spit F bulk he'd be able to 1v1 even an Ice Beam Slowbro. But I'm gonna make the Spit F hit a Sizzle, as I do take the EQ. I realize I have to put myself in a situation where I can take advantage of this Gliscor, as now Sizzle does come in. I felt as though this turn he may switch out to Heatran, predicting me to be like an SD Roost variant, because the fact that I switched Sizzle in to a bulky, especially defensive Gliscor, maybe I can think that I'm comfortable setting up versus it. And so if I do set up, I can beat his team. If I'm like a fast Heatran, a fast Sizzle, maybe like a double dance Sizzle, really actually runs through his team. So I felt as though he may switch out here, he may not. If he didn't, it wasn't the end of the world. I can just go for the U-turn this turn, as I do take the second EQ. So not looking too good, but you know, we've always got a plan. So now my Gardevoir comes in. The fact that he's a Spit F variant with Roost makes me think that he may actually have Protect. Reason being, Guard's Hyper Voice actually does 2-KO the Gliscor without Protect. He needs Protect to guarantee himself that extra recovery turn to put himself out of range of 2 Hyper Voices. So I do Calm Mind this turn, as he does go for the Protect. So this is fantastic for us. I go for the Calm Mind, as he does go for the Protect right there. Now we're at +1, sitting good. I know I can guarantee 2-KO this Gliscor, as we do get the Hyper Voice damage off, and he goes to the EQ, and he gets the crit. So that does 66%. That wouldn't have done over half without the crit EQ, and you guys are going to see how that's going to come into play later. Very unfortunate, but you know what happens. It's part of the game. So I'm just going to go for the Hyper Voice here and take him out, as he does actually switch to Heatran. So he decides to preserve his click score, which I can understand because it does beat so much of my team. It can roost up even on slow bro, so that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I can definitely understand the preservation of the click score there. I'm going to go for the Protect here, just in case. No, I was going to go for the Protect, and still I stole the lefties. So the fact that he's lefties, I know that the way he took that, he's actually an offensive Heatran. He took 24% from +1 Hyper Voice, and I have only 44 special attacks. So yeah, that's definitely an offensive Heatran. I can go for the hidden power ground here, but he knows that. He's just going to switch right out, going to his Galvantula. Nice double on his part. He's going to chew the hidden power. He takes a ton from that hidden power ground, to be honest. But I know that right here, he's either going to set up webs, or he's going to try and paralyze me, or he's going to go for the attack. So I'm going to go for the Protect here. And he fires off a Thunder. Now, Life Orb, max special attack Galvantula can't kill me at this range with Thunder. If he's Specs variant, then it's a roll. It's actually a decent roll in my favor to survive at +1 with max HP. So he's going to go for the Thunder here, and you guys are going to see he does get the roll, and he does take me out. So very unfortunate. I guaranteed lived that without the crit EQ from Gliscor. And I spoke to Mono after the game. +1 guard literally won. I literally 6-0'd him with guard had I not got the crit EQ. But yeah, that's just part of the game. But it was a great game. So we're going to go out into Roserade as he goes out to his Blastoise. Reason being, I figured as though he was likely going to go into Blastoise to spin away the T-Spikes ASAP. So stuff like Cofagrigus and his Kyurem could come in without the fear of them being poisoned. So we do get that prediction right. As Blastoise isn't going to want to stay in, I am just going to go for the Leaf Storm this turn. He actually overpredicts right there, and he predicted me to. Or I really do understand it, because he predicted me to make the hidden power ground play, expecting his Heatran to come in. Just as I did last game, he expected me to play aggressively around his Heatran, because Heatran does do so much work to my team. With slow beaming pressured, if he is like a Magma Storm Solar Beam variant, I do have Protect to scalp the Solar Beam, but you know, he may play it differently. I don't know. Heatran is definitely a worry for my team, so he did expect me to play aggressively as they did game 1, and I was not willing to take the risk game 2. So I do go for the Leaf Storm. We do take out the Mega Blastoise right there. As Heatran is going to come in here, I'm going to stay in and go for the hidden power ground. As even at -2, it is going to do a ton to this Heatran, putting it in guaranteed range of Brave Bird, putting it in range of even Bullet Punch after a little bit more chip. So I actually get the crit here with hidden power ground, so I guess we can call that you know, somewhat justice for the crit on guard, which literally 6-0'd. But yeah, so a little bit of luck back in my favor. This does mean that I get to preserve Roserade, which is pretty nice for me, so you know, it's not all bad. Slowbro is going to come in here as he does go for the substitute. Now I actually this turn go for the Protect, just wanting to scout a set. He goes for the Fusion Bolt, which is pretty nice. I get to stall out one of those turns, so now I can actually go for the Slack Off on his predicted Fusion Bolt. And obviously I'm getting worn down by T-Spikes, but the toxic damage I've taken from that, but I can basically stall him out of those Fusion Bolts if I need to. I feel like there he was going to switch out, or at least switch up moves on his Kyurem. I felt as though he wasn't going to go for the Fusion Bolt a third time when I had shown Protect. Slack Off was my kind of strategy versus that. So I do go for the Slack Off there on his switch out to his Gliscor. Now I'm going to go into my Roserade, as this Spidef Gliscor is a real pain to my team. It's a bit of a worry, as now I'm going to go to Crobat. The reason I go to Crobat is I know he actually has nothing to touch his EQ, Protect, Roost, and Toxic, so he can't touch my Crobat. I can pivot between Crobat and Slowbro to win this game, if he does want to stay in and play these games with Gliscor. So Brave Bird actually does a ton to this Crobat. I go for the Brave Bird on the switch out to Cofagrigus, as that does a crit, gets 57, so it would have done about like 38-40 around that mark without the high 30s without the crit. What this would have meant was that I could have gone for a second one the next turn, and he would have died to poison damage. He actually told me after the match that he actually says in the chat right here that it doesn't really matter, because he did reveal to be an offensive variant with Trick Room. So what this would have meant was, had I not got the crit that turn, I would have taken him out next turn. Well, I would have dealt the second Brave Bird, which would have put him in range to that poison, but he would have got either a big hit off of my Crobat, or he could have got Trick Room up. So, yeah, Mono said it didn't matter during the match. Obviously, Hacks is lame anyway, but I'm just gonna go for Defog right here, as he does go for Roost. I have no reason to not to defog. what defog? Just because I'm trying to stall him out of PP. If I can stall him out of EQ PP and Roost, then Slowbro wins. If I can stall him out of EQs, then like Terrakion, everything else wins basically. Also, if I go for the defog, it's lowering his evasiveness, meaning that Stone Edge is guaranteed to hit. With my Terrakion, I don't risk the miss, which is pretty nice. If I can stall him out of EQs, then my Stone Edges will be taking him out once his Protect and Roosts have been, once his Protect and Roosts are gone. So I know that he's in range to die to a Brave Bird here, but he actually gets the Salac Berry boost, which is really interesting. So he was a sub Salac Kyurem, which is a really cool bring by Mono, but the poison obviously made that pretty hard for him to pull off. He's going to go down to poison damage this turn with his Kyurem, as he does try and go for a Fusion Bolt there. As now Gliscor's going to come in and go for the EQ on my Slack Off. It's just going to get a bit stally towards the end here, as Mono's just trying to think of a way that he could potentially win this, because obviously Gliscor does beat Terrakion, it beats, provided he's at full, it beats my Slowbro, it beats Roserade, and it beats the Scizor. So he's trying to figure out a way of potentially winning here, but he eventually realizes that I have enough PP on my Crobat, as well as the fact that I can just pivot between Slowbro and Crobat, getting back Regenerator health every turn. He's going to eventually run out of PP and struggle to death. So eventually here, Mono's going to forfeit, and we're going to take the 5-0 for game 2. So that is actually going to wrap up my series, but there were a number of great games in the war, so I definitely encourage you guys to go and check the rest of the games out. They will be going up on the NPL channel, the NPL channel will be forwarding everyone to all the different matches, which is going to be great to watch. So definitely go and check that out. NPL and PPL players will be uploading these, so yeah, good fun to play Mono. Looking forward to playing him, in the future, where the matchup is a little bit more even. I felt as though Guard had a very nice matchup versus his team, and while he did have some amazing ones in his team, like Webs plus Kyurem and Mega Blastoise, which just completely deterred me from wanting to bring Lando, the combination of Terrakion and Mega Guard was just really quite difficult for him to handle. But it was great fun to play him nonetheless, and I'm sure we'll have another chance in the future to go at it. So definitely go and check out Mono. I'm sure you guys are already subbed to him anyway, but yeah, go and check him out. He's a really nice guy, and he's a very good player. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I uploaded, but I just thought I'd give you guys this one. And you can definitely expect Sun and Moon content from me. There's big stuff happening with the NPL at the moment. I'll say that much. But yeah, and I've got other leagues happening in the future, as well as lives and all that good stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, see you, and thank you guys so much for watching once again.